Brittany.
Hi, Rachel.
Brittany, you should clean your room.
I should.
I gotta say it. No, I'm just kidding. Your room looks immaculate. But what I'm referring to really is in the 12 Rules Boot Camp and from the Tuttle Twins, there are 12 rules for life that's kind of based off of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for living. And they are so insightful. Yes. Oh, look what you have.
Vanna Whiting. Is Wheel of Fortune even a show anymore?
Vanna Whiting. That's a verb. Yeah, very good. So 12 Rules Boot Camp is kind of for kids version of Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Living. And today I wanted to talk about Rule 7 in the boot camp, which is clean your room, which is a favorite for all moms everywhere.
Well, take control of myself in the world, but it's clean your room and
that's what it means is, do you ever feel like you want to go to people around you and tell them what's wrong with what they're doing? You know, you're doing it wrong. You should do it this way. And blah, blah, blah. I know everything. And this is what you're doing wrong. And you should change your ways. Meanwhile, your life is a mess. And I think that's such a good rule because there's also some things in the Bible about that, you know. Take the plank out of your own eye before you worry about the speck in your neighbor's eye. And that's so important because it kind of highlights that we're all going through a battle. Like we're all going through our own mess. And you don't know what that person is going through. Like they're fighting a battle that you can't see. And you're fighting battles that they can't see. And maybe the world would be a better place if all of us would worry about cleaning our own room and getting ourself in order, working on ourself before we go pointing fingers at others and telling them how to live. Because, you know, maybe we don't know everything. Just a thought.
Yeah, it also reminds me of every time you go on an airplane, they do the safety warning and they tell you to put your own mask on before you help somebody else if there's an accident. And I always think of that. I'm like, it sounds like bad advice, but it's like you're thinking like, what? No, I got to help other people. But you can't help other people if you don't know, if you haven't become, you know, master of your own domain kind of. And that's why.
Perfect.
And I think for me, it actually. Yeah. And it wasn't even my room. You don't even have to start with your room because sometimes your room can be so messy that you're just like, it's overwhelming, right? So one thing I know, it's beyond help. If your room looked like I did when I was a kid with all my dolls and toys everywhere. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah. Legos, lots of Legos. And parents hate stepping on Legos, believe me.
Well, it's the worst.
But for me, even as an adult, you start with your bed. That's what I did. I started with my bed. And the amount of just how I feel so much better about my day when I know that I got up and made my bed, and it seems silly, right? Because you're like, it's just your bed. But then it's like you make your bed and then you're like, you know, maybe I'll clean up this little area. Maybe I'll hang up my clothes. Maybe I'll put those Legos away. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you've taken on more responsibility.
Yeah, and lately I've been on this kick with my kitchen. You know, sometimes as a mom, the kitchen gets like just destroyed throughout the day with dishes and pots and pans that are all dirty and everything out on the counter, and the counters are just a mess. And you're so tired at the end of the day that you just want to go to bed. I'll worry about it in the morning. But then the morning comes and you wake up to this filth, and it just kind of... and then you don't want to make breakfast in that filthy kitchen because then you gotta wash all of these pots first before you can do that, and it's like an hour's worth of work before you get to breakfast. You know, so I've been on this kick where, you know, the last 30 minutes of the day, I clean the kitchen and I make it spotless. And I have the dishwasher running. I have all the pots dried and put away, and then I wake up in the morning and it just want to light a candle and it's.
Could you come over to my house? Could you hop on a plane?
I'll be right there. Yeah.
My kitchen is my biggest battleground, I think, because that's harder than my room even, because we're just always using things in it.
Yeah, but you know, start small. Clean your sink. Just clean your sink, you know? Just
dishes for me. That's the thing first. If I can just do the dishes, then everything else kind of gets
Yeah, and then you get
easier.
on a kick, and then before you know it, it's an hour later.
You're like, my house is perfect. But it is so important, and it's also humbling. It's humbling when
Yes,
you're
yes.
sitting there in your high horse, and we all do it. Not pointing fingers. I know that for me, especially people like, we do this podcast and Rachel and I write, and it's like we're always writing our views and opinions on things, which is in a lot of ways saying, well, I'm right. Even if you're not saying I'm right, it's kind of saying like, even right now, we're saying we're right by telling you to start, cleaning your room. But then sometimes you'll be sitting there, imagine being in like an internet argument and you're just sitting there typing out your response and you're just like, I'm so right. This person's so wrong. Imagine pausing and looking around at your room and realizing it's a mess and being like, should I really be telling this person that they're wrong?
Do I have any right? Yeah. Is my house all in order? Yeah. So, yeah, because the person that you're criticizing, they're trying their best, just like you are. And
Hopefully.
if we all, yeah, hopefully. I mean, let's assume the best. But yeah, what right do we have to judge others and tell them how to live when our own life is a mess? Now, when you get all that figured out, and you've got your morning schedule down and your routines, and you're taking all your vitamins, and you're eating perfect, and your weight is perfect, and everything is in order, and then you'll be like 80 years old when you figure all that out. Then
But it is.
You can impart wisdom to the rest.
It can snowball in either direction, right? It can snowball in you start with your bed, and then you start with your room, and then you start with your routines, and before you know it, like you're so ahead of where you thought you'd be. But then if you don't do it, like the kitchen, you don't do it one day, and then the dishes pile up. And then the pots and pans pile up, and then I don't want to make dinner. And so then maybe I order takeout, and now I'm not eating healthy. And it's like this spiral, right? But you can control which way the spiral goes. A good one?
Yeah.
Or a bad one, right? So spiral up. So it's crazy.
And, if you get into a bad spiral like that, it kind of, I don't know whether it's like a chicken and egg thing, which comes first. The mess accumulates, or your mental health suffers and you feel more depressed. But, if you do it in reverse and you just clean one thing, your mental health gets a little better. So I don't know. These two things feed off of each other. Just, put yourself in order.
It sets you up for success.
Yeah. And I'm also on this kick where I'm trying to take better care of myself and go to the gym more. And I mean, it just spirals. Like, and if you just make one little incremental change and try to do it every day, just a small thing, like you said, clean, make your bed or clean your sink, or read 10 minutes of a book that you think is going to help you improve yourself. Just little things, and try to do it every day. It's such a challenge, but it will help you feel better. It will help you look at the world in a better way, and you might be a little less judgmental of others too.
One of my favorite things that one of my students taught me, she said, practice makes permanent. Because, we always say practice makes perfect. And she said, my mom always tells me practice makes permanent. And I, to this day, think about that, because I think like if I decide that I don't want to make my bed for a week, or I don't want to clean up my room, if I don't do it for one day, it gets real easy to the next day say, I'll do it later. I don't need to do it today. And then the next day and the next day. And then that practice becomes permanent, right? But on the other hand, if I do it one day, and I kind of tell myself that if I get up one day and I'm like, I don't really want to make my bed today, I said, like, remember though, you've gotten in this good habit. All it takes is a couple times to completely fall out of that. And then you're back to square one. And again, I am not perfect. I could list you all my flaws and written areas for improvement.
Oh my gosh.
But one thing that I am very proud of myself on is I have become almost addicted to routine. So I don't know if it's very good, but to the point where like vacations are hard because I'm like, I need my routines. But I do those because I was in a situation where I did feel just kind of like, just kind of disorganized and chaotic. And it all started with Jordan Peterson. It all started with hearing, clean your room. Like, why can't you just clean your room? And I was like, why can't I just clean my room? And it started with putting my laundry away after I cleaned it, making my bed, doing this. If I can do this, maybe I can get up at 6:30 and write a gratitude journal of things I'm thankful for, and go to the gym and do this, and have eating healthy is very hard for me because I love sugar. But you kind of get to a point where you start thinking like, oh, well, if I care about my room so much that I want to make my bed because I care about the kind of environment I want to live in, then you also say like the environment that I'm giving my body, right? Like working out and drinking enough water and all that. So it's a really interesting snowball that it goes into.
Yeah. And you reminded me of a pattern that I have in my life. I'm going to just confess here. This is something that I tend to do. I tend to like get on a really strong health kick and I do really great. And then I have a goal, like we go on a cruise and I want to be down like 20 pounds by the time we go on this cruise because I'm going to look fabulous in the vacation photos. And I make the goal and I go on the cruise and we're on the boat for like 5 days or a week. And I gorge myself like a pig because I've earned it, right? I've earned it. And then I get home from the cruise and it's like, oh, and I've probably gained 5 pounds of it back just in those few days. And I haven't been working out and I don't want to work out because I'm recovering from my vacation, you see. And then the next day, I'm still kind of recovering. And then the next day it's like, oh, whatever.
It takes me a month to recover from vacation.
I've totally lost my momentum. And I've done that over and over and over. And I need to stop that. I love going on vacations, but I need to stop thinking that, when I go on vacation, like I'm off my diet and my routine because I'll never get back on.
This a little bit of a tangent, but it's a good reminder because I'm very much the same way. And there's something kind of helpful when you have like a health problem, obviously not a big one. You want, we don't wish bad health on me or anyone else. But sometimes when you get like really sick or you get something that is a really rough patch for you health-wise, you start really realizing how important taking care of yourself is. Yeah. And then you're like, oh my goodness, how was I like I miss the days when I could go to the gym because now I'm so sick I can't get up and do it. And you start missing that. Even if you get the flu and you're sick for like 2 weeks and you start thinking like, how did I ever take it for granted when I could eat, real food and could go to the gym? And you're reminded of how blessed you are to even be able to get up and make your bed and be able to get up and take care of yourself and make yourself healthy food. So perspective is interesting also.
Oh, that's really important. You can, if you're healthy enough to go to the gym, why wouldn't you? Because someday you might not be able to.
That's actually, and this is going to be really cheesy, but I actually, every time I go to the gym, I start off by saying kind of a little thank you prayer. It doesn't have to be a prayer if that's not what you like to do, but a little just like thank you for like, wow, I'm healthy enough. My body is good enough to where I'm healthy enough to even get up and run. Like, that's amazing because there are a lot of people that are like sick or, are struggling with these diseases. And I'm like, how cool is it? Because I'm going to be 80 before you know it. It'll happen quickly. And maybe I won't be able to run then. But like, wow, that's so cool. So I do that every single morning. And it's kind of fun. And again, I am not saying like, look how great I am. Believe me, like I said, I got a long list of things I need to work on. I just ate a box of Girl Scout cookies before filming this.
Wow. I wish I had Girl Scout
delicious.
cookies. But anyway, maybe we'll leave it there for now.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. We always have such a good time at chatting with you guys, and we hope you enjoy listening to us as well. So please don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. And until next time, we will talk to you later.
Talk to you later.